Imagine this, a husband suspicious of his wife's secret life, determined to find the other man. He follows every step, only to uncover a truth darker than he ever imagined. This is a tale of betrayal, obsession, and a twist that'll leave you questioning everything. Just when you think you know what's going on, bam, the truth hits harder than expected. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Dropping a like and a comment is the least you can do to show some love. And like we always say, even if some stories seem the same, they ain't never the same when I'm the one telling them. The movie starts with Lisa smiling on a big yacht in Milan. She looks very happy. She feels like everything is perfect. Soon, we see her at a fancy fashion show. Her husband, Peter, and their daughter, Abigail, are with her. Lisa is a shoe designer. All the models are wearing the shoes she made. After the show, Lisa, Peter, and Abigail walk into the dressing room where the models get ready. Lisa says hello to the fashion designer and her helper, Ralph. Then Abigail tells her dad she's leaving because her husband, George, is waiting outside. She hugs her mom and goes with George. Ralph, who is Lisa's friend and works with the designer, tries to stop Lisa from quitting her job, but Lisa has already decided to retire. She says this is the right time to stop. When Peter walks over, Lisa says, "You know Ralph?" Peter nods. "Yes." Then Peter tells Lisa, "I'll wait for you at the restaurant to celebrate." The story feels calm, but something under the surface is about to change. A little later, Lisa walks into the restaurant where Peter is waiting. She sits down, and they start talking quietly. Peter says he loves the shoes Lisa makes, but he doesn't like the fashion designer or Ralph. They look at the menu, and Peter tells her the fish here is the best in all of Milan. We find out Lisa often travels to Milan to make big deals with shoe stores. Then Lisa asks softly, "Have you ever wanted to be with another woman besides me?" Peter shakes his head and says, "No, I've spent more than half my life with you. My love has never faded, and I never needed anyone else." Lisa smiles and says, "I love you so much. If I didn't, I would have left you a long time ago." Their words feel real, but you can sense a quiet tension just beneath the surface. A few days later, Lisa tells Peter she's going to Milan to finish some work with her clients. She packs her bags and leaves. 9 months pass, and we see Peter pulling all of Lisa's clothes out of the house. Abigail comes by and sees him with the clothes. He hands them to her and says, "I don't want to see these clothes again." Abigail looks at the clothes and says, "We wear the same size, but I don't want them." Then Peter spots Lisa's phone. He takes it and hides it in his desk drawer. Abigail gives Peter a piece of paper and says, "Mom told me to give you this." Peter opens it and reads just 2 words, Lake Como. Something strange is starting to happen, and it feels like no one is telling the whole truth. That night, Peter gets a voice message on Lisa's phone. When he listens, a man's voice says, "I miss you so much. I haven't heard your voice in a long time, and I wish I could." Peter feels a cold shock. He never thought Lisa could be cheating on him. He puts the phone down on Lisa's laptop and goes upstairs to sleep, but his mind races and won't let him rest. Later, he goes back to the office and starts looking through the photos on the laptop. Most are happy family pictures, until he finds a folder named Love. He tries to open it, but it's locked with a password. He guesses many times, but none work. Then he keeps looking and finds pictures of Lisa with Ralph from the last fashion show. In the photos, Ralph looks very close to Lisa, closer than just a friend. Peter's world is starting to crack, and he doesn't know what to believe anymore. Suddenly, Peter's phone buzzes with a new email from someone named Ralph. The message tells Lisa about their old love and asks her to leave everything behind and come back to him. The next morning, Peter goes to the fashion house to find Ralph. He asks, "Were you in a relationship with Lisa?" Ralph shakes his head and says, "No, but I wish we were closer because you're not right for her. I don't know why she loved you or married you." Then the fashion house owner tells Peter she knew Lisa had someone else, but it wasn't Ralph, and she doesn't know who it was. Peter leaves and goes to see his daughter, Abigail. He tells her all he found out, but she doesn't believe him. She says, "I won't let you talk like that about my mom." She gets a room ready for Peter to stay, but as soon as she leaves, Peter quietly slips out of the house. The family is breaking apart, and the truth feels like it's slipping farther away. Back at home, Peter types a message to Ralph. He writes, "The woman you sent that email to no longer exists." Then he sends it. The next morning, at his company, Peter asks his secretary to call Joy, the cybersecurity expert, to his office right away. When Joy arrives, Peter gives her the email address that sent the message to Lisa. He asks her to find out who owns it and where they live. Joy asks if Peter plans to go after the sender. He answers coldly, "To kill him." She laughs, thinking he's joking, meeting, but promises to find all the information for him. Peter works late, waiting for answers. Then, another email from Ralph appears. Ralph writes that love never really ends because memories last forever. He says he was glad Lisa answered his first email. The fight is just starting, and the past won't let go so easily. Peter walks up to the company's security manager and says, "You used to be an officer. Tell me where I can buy a gun." The man looks at him and says, "I won't tell you." Peter feels scared that he might hurt himself, so he tries to focus on the laptop again. He types in different passwords to open the locked folder. Finally, he tries Lake Co, and it opens. Peter freezes when he sees pictures of Lisa with another man in Milan. They are at restaurants by the lake and in hotel rooms. The photos show clearly that Lisa had a secret relationship with this man. Peter feels crushed. Right then, Joy sends him the details about the email sender. Peter learns his name is Ralph Cortez, a 36-year-old man living on 36th Street in Milan, Italy. Without wasting time, Peter tells his secretary to book him a flight to Milan and a hotel there. He's ready to find out the truth, no matter the cost. When Peter arrives in Milan, he goes straight to the building where Ralph lives. But the gate is locked tight, so he waits outside. Finally, a neighbor opens the gate. Before it closes, Peter slips inside without being seen. He looks at the mailboxes by the entrance, but he can't find Ralph's name. So, Peter goes upstairs and waits near the apartments, hoping Ralph will come out. After a while, Ralph appears. Peter quietly follows him down the street. Ralph walks into a cafe, and Peter goes inside after him. He searches the room until he sees Ralph sitting in the chess section. Peter stays frozen, watching. He doesn't move closer yet. The hunt has begun, but Peter is still waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, Abigail starts to worry about Peter. She calls him, but he doesn't answer. Back in his hotel room, Peter flips through the photos of Lisa with Ralph. He sees how happy and cheerful she looked with him. That night, Peter can't sleep. His mind races with heavy thoughts he can't shake. Early the next morning, he goes to the cafe and sits at the same table where Ralph usually plays chess alone. When Ralph arrives, he smiles and says, "I always sit here." Peter invites him to play a game. Ralph agrees. As they play, they start to talk. Ralph says his mother is English and his father is Spanish. He tells Peter he never stays in one place for long and loves visiting London and New York. Just then, Peter's phone buzzes. It's a message from Abigail. "Please let me know you're okay." Peter looks at the message, feeling the weight of everything closing in around him. Peter looks at Ralph and asks about the places he visited in England. Ralph says he went to Cambridge and met a woman from there, but he met her in Milan. He tells Peter she was a shoe designer. Ralph remembers the first time he saw her. He says she wore a beautiful pair of red shoes. She was very pretty, but what caught my eye was the design and color of those shoes, he says. He tells how she walked toward him, and when he started talking, she acted like they had known each other forever. When Peter asks when this happened, Ralph says, 12 years ago. Peter feels a sharp shock and a sting of betrayal, but he stays calm and asks, "When was the last time you saw her?" Ralph answers, 9 months ago, but I'm sure I'll see her again soon. At the same time, Abigail and her husband go to Peter's house to check on him, but he's not there. Abigail finds her mother's phone and listens to Ralph's message. She's shocked because she had doubted her father's words before. The next day, Peter and Ralph meet again at the cafe and start another game of chess. During the game, Peter asks if Lisa used to come to Milan often. Ralph says yes and tells him about a day they spent together at a shoe factory. Lisa wanted to end their relationship that day, but Ralph begged her to leave everything behind and run away with him. Then he started dancing with her right in front of the factory workers. She was so happy, like she forgot all her worries, he said. After their dance, the workers clapped for them. That night, it rained, and they ran together through the wet streets. Peter thinks back to a day when Lisa came home from Milan. He stood at the door to greet her. When she saw him, she smiled and said, "I missed you so much." Peter felt happy, believing the distance made her love him more. He didn't know she had been cheating on the lawn. He also remembers her last words to him at the restaurant. The next morning, Peter meets Ralph at a museum and asks if he ever married any of the women he knew. Ralph answers, "I don't believe in marriage. Why would I tie myself down and miss out on other women?" He adds, "I have a son from an affair. He lives with his mom, and I don't know anything about him." Ralph then asks Peter, "Are you married?" Peter replies, "Yes, I've been married for 25 years. I love my wife, and she loves me. We trust each other deeply, and neither of us has ever cheated." Ralph says, "It's hard for two people to stay loyal that long." The next day, Ralph and Peter meet again at the cafe to play chess. Ralph says, "I'm going to win this round. You're stuck and can't escape." But Peter surprises him and wins with one smart move. Just then, Ralph's phone rings. It's Lisa's number. He panics, quickly answers, and calls her name before rushing out of the cafe. Of course, Peter follows him. We find out it was Abigail who called Ralph using her mother's phone. When she hears his voice, she ends the call without saying a word. But that call brings back Ralph's hope of seeing Lisa again. The next day, Abigail goes to her father's company, hoping to find out where he went. Meanwhile, back at the cafe, Ralph tells Peter that the call he got yesterday was from the shoe designer. He says, "She is the most beautiful woman in the world. When she left me, I realized she was the only one I ever truly loved." Ralph starts sharing stories about their time together, but Peter loses his temper and gets very angry. Ralph thinks Peter is upset because he lost the chess game and says, "It's just a game." Right then, Ralph notices one of his creditors coming into the cafe and quickly leaves. Peter pays the creditor the money Ralph owes and follows him outside. Just then, Abigail shows up and stops Peter. He asks, "What are you doing here?" She answers, "I found out who Mom was involved with, called him, and heard his voice." At that moment, Peter realizes Abigail is more involved than he thought. Peter looks at Abigail and says, "I see him every day. I play chess with him and talk to him. From how he acts and the way he talks, I can tell he's a weak and sad man." He then takes Abigail to his hotel room and shows her the pictures of Ralph with her mother. He reads her the emails Ralph sent. Suddenly, Peter yells, "I need to know. Did I fail somehow? Why wasn't I enough for her that she went to this worthless man? I'm really thinking about killing him." Then, Peter tells Abigail, "I was the one answering Ralph's messages, pretending to be your mom." Abigail is shocked and says, "How could you do that? Just forget it and go back to London." When Peter refuses, she turns and walks away without looking back. The next day, Peter goes back to the building where Ralph lives. As he gets there, he hears a noise coming from the janitor's room. Quietly, he follows the sound and finds Ralph wearing old, worn-out clothes in a small apartment on the ground floor. Peter suddenly realizes that Ralph is actually the building's caretaker, but Ralph says he only goes down there to take care of a little turtle he found near the building's entrance. At that moment, Peter spots a hammer lying nearby. He quickly grabs it, planning to hurt Ralph, who has his back turned and doesn't notice. Then, Ralph gently hands Peter the tiny turtle and says, "Look how cute it is." Peter takes the turtle in his hands, feels a small calm inside, and quietly puts it back before walking away. Sometimes, even the hardest hearts can be softened by the smallest things. When Peter gets back to the hotel, he finds his daughter packing her bag. She says, "I'm going back to London now. You should forget all of this and come with me." But Peter shakes his head and refuses, so she leaves. Peter walks up to his hotel room and sends an email to Ralph, pretending to be Lisa. He writes that Lisa will meet Ralph at their old place, a hotel by the shore of Lake Co, on Friday at 8 p.m. in the hotel's restaurant. When Ralph reads the message, he feels so happy he can hardly believe it. He calls Peter right away and invites him to dinner at his apartment the next day. Meanwhile, Peter borrows the keys to an apartment in the building Ralph looks after, knowing the owners are away. Before his meeting with Ralph, Peter quietly goes up to that apartment to wait. Peter knows this meeting could change everything, and he's ready for whatever comes next. When Peter gets to the ground floor unit, Ralph calls out from the stairs saying, "Come up to my apartment." Even though Peter knows it's not really Ralph's home, he follows him upstairs. Ralph tells Peter he's going to meet Lisa on Friday and asks if he can borrow some money. Peter hands him the full amount without hesitation. Ralph starts packing his bag to book a suite at the hotel for their meeting. On Friday, Ralph leaves his hotel room and heads to the restaurant, but he freezes when he sees Peter already waiting there. Peter looks at him calmly and says, "I'm Lisa's husband, and she died of cancer 9 months ago." We flash back to the day Peter found out Lisa had cancer. The doctor tells him she knew about it for a long time, but chose not to get treatment. Now the doctor says there is no hope left. When Peter asks why she refused treatment, the doctor explains, Lisa didn't want her body to change and look different. Back in the present, Ralph says to Peter, Lisa did the right thing. She was always beautiful, and the treatment would have meant losing part of her body. Peter suddenly shouts, "What does that part matter if it could have saved her life?" Then we flash back again. Lisa tells Peter she was happy during their marriage. Peter asks her to pick a place she loves, and he promises to take her there. He gives her a piece of paper to write down the place, but she can't do it right away. The next day, she writes Lake Como and asks their daughter to give the note to Peter after she dies. As Lisa's sickness gets worse, Peter and Abigail take turns caring for her every day. Back in the present, Ralph asks Peter, "How did you find out about me and Lisa?" Peter answers, "I found pictures of you two in a folder on her laptop called Love." Ralph then asks, "Did you read the messages too?" Peter nods. "I read them all. Actually, I was the one replying to you at the end." Ralph sighs and says, "I won't lie. I'm a failure in many ways, but I'm good at making a married woman, married to a man like you, feel a kind of love she never had with you. Maybe you got your revenge, but I lived the best moments of my life with your wife. I paid off my debts. She was truly happy with me. She loved me." Then Ralph smiles a little and adds, "Thanks for the money you gave me. It bought me this suit and a nice room in this fancy hotel. Of course, I know I'll never be able to pay you back." At that moment, Peter turns and walks away, leaving Ralph standing alone. We go back one last time to the moment when Lisa died. She lay on her bed with Peter and Abigail holding her hands. When she passed away, both of them broke down and cried like their hearts were breaking. Back in the present, Peter returns to his home in Cambridge after some time. He calls his daughter and asks to meet her in London the next day. After he finds out Ralph is in London, he goes to the pub Ralph used to visit and invites him to dinner. Ralph says yes. The dinner is held to remember Lisa. Peter invites the owner of the fashion house and all of Lisa's friends. When Abigail arrives, she hears her father introduce Ralph to the guests, saying, "This is my wife's friend, and I'm here tonight to honor the memory of my beloved Lisa." Abigail walks up and stands proudly beside her father, showing she's proud of him. In the last scene, Peter and his daughter wait at the train station for the train that will take them back to Cambridge. He tells her, "Ralph is a lowly man. He doesn't even deserve our revenge." What would you do if you found out your spouse was hiding a dark secret? Would you confront the truth or let it destroy you? Drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I want to hear how you'd handle this shocking betrayal.